Hello, everyone, and welcome to History with Matt. Today, we're going to be going through the 2024 United States Senate elections. We're going to be going through these states in depth, looking at the candidates, looking at the partisanship of each state. We're going to be looking at the primaries, who's going to get through, and we're going to make our prediction based on all that information. But before we start, if you like this type of content and you want to see more of it, consider subscribing because it greatly helps out the channel, and you'll also be my first subscriber, which would be a great achievement for me. But with all that out of the way, we're going to get straight into it, and we're going to go from East Coast Democratic to West Coast, and then we'll go East Coast. We'll start off with the states essentially. Now we'll start with California. California is a very interesting one because you have three notable Democrats: Barbara Lee, Adam Schiff, Katie Porter, and then one notable Republican being Steve Garvey, a former Los Angeles Dodgers baseball player, I think. Is it Steve Garvey? Yeah. Now, now, this comes down to two things. One, does this become a Adam Schiff, Katie Porter race, or does this become an Adam Schiff, Steve Garvey race? Barbara Lee hasn't been polling anywhere in excess of 10%. Katie Porter and Steve Garvey are neck and neck for second place. This is a jungle primary. Top two go through regardless of party. At the moment, it's going to be safe Democratic, but I think the Katie Porter Adam Schiff race will be particularly interesting due to it being a more establishment Democrat, being Adam Schiff, and a more progressive in the shape of Katie Porter. In Washington, we have a fairly boring race with Maria Cantwell, who's the long-term senator from Washington. She's going up against a representative called Steve Garcia. I think this is going to be easily safe. We then move from the Maine, where Angus King has announced that he is run for re-election and he will have no problem winning that race by a safe margin. Vermont, Bernie Sanders has not yet announced, to my knowledge, that he is running, but if he doesn't run, or if he does run, it will be safe Democrat. Massachusetts, I think this is Elizabeth Warren's. I think she'll win by a safe margin. She does underperform slightly, but I don't know any notable Republicans that have announced. I don't know any notable Republicans that have announced in the Massachusetts race. I'll have a quick look at it. Yeah, she's the only. Robert, no. 10 grand, no. This is very much safe Democrat. Connecticut, I think this is Chris Murphy's seat. He will have no problem winning this by a safe margin. Sheldon Whitehouse, I think, is Sheldon Whitehouse, who very, very moderate for a state like Rhode Island. He will win by a safe margin. New Jersey, an interesting one. We'll talk a wee bit more about New Jersey. New Jersey had Bob Menendez. He has not yet announced whether he's going to run or not, but this is a three-way primary at the moment, maybe two-way, between Tammy Murphy, wife of Phil Murphy, the current governor of New Jersey, and Andy Kim, who is New Jersey's third representative. Again, more establishment Democrat versus a more progressive-ish Democrat. And Bob Menendez is the wild card. I think Andy Kim has been polling really well, though Tammy Murphy. Wonder where Bob Menendez got all that money from. That's us. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he actually accepts that debate in February 18th. But Andy Kim is winning the polling quite convincingly. If Menendez wins the nomination, this could get interesting. Delaware is Lisa Blunt Rochester, who's the representative. Tom Carper, the current senator, is retiring. She just moved up, got a promotion, basically, and she's going to win this race easily enough. Maryland, with the news that Larry Hogan's running, I still see it being above a 10-point margin of victory. probably similar enough to a 2006 and Cardin. See if we can get that. 2006 Maryland Senate election. Yeah, probably a similar margin to that. Probably you'd get around 44, 45% of the vote. I think that's probably a similar enough margin to that. Democrat side, it's either David Trump or Angela Alsobrooks. Again, more establishment being Trump versus a more progressive in Alsobrooks. But again, he's going to get the margin down. That's just the reality. But I still think it'll be safe at this moment in time. New York, we have Kirsten Gillibrand. I know no notable challenges to her seat from the Republican side, or even no, she's the only one in the Democratic primary versus just no. That's a safe state. And we're going to talk about Klobuchar. I think we can easily put safe. She is very much a knack for winning her races by 24 points here. Does really well in the Twin Cities and just does really well in this southeastern side of the state as well as the northeast. These kind of ancestrally Democrat areas. I think she'll win handily. We have also, and I think that's it for safe Democratic seats. Now we'll move on to the safe Republican seats. Utah has an open seat. Mitt Romney is stepping down. Notable members are John Curtis, who is the front runner at this time. Brad Wilson's up there. Trent Staggs is up there. Brent Hatch, son of former Senator Orrin Hatch. But I think at this moment in time, it looks like this is going to be John Curtis's race to lose. I think he's the full advantage as well. Wyoming, Barrasso hasn't yet announced, but he will possibly a future Senate Majority Leader for the Republican Party. He will not be a safe margin. Kevin Cramer, looking for a second term after beating Heidi Heitkamp. He will win handily enough. This is Deb Fisher, will win handily enough. Pete Ricketts, will he even be the nominee? It's kind of up in the air due to the fact that the Nebraska GOP endorsed a guy called Weaver, John Glenn Weaver. They endorsed against him. However, Pete Ricketts has a significant fundraising advantage over him, so that'll be an interesting primary to watch. And whoever wins primary will win the general election handily. Missouri, Josh Hawley will beat Lucas Kuntz quite handily, again over 10 points. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Again, significant fundraising advantage. He doesn't have to go through a tough primary. Lucas Kuntz lost to Trudy Bush Valentine in 2022. Marsha Blackburn is actually going up against quite an interesting candidate. She's going up against Gloria Johnson, who's won the Tennessee 3, who staged that protest in the Tennessee State House for gun reform. She's getting a lot of money. I've heard, she's got over $2 million in fundraising. She'll have no problem on the primary, but she will lose the general. Indiana, Jim Banks. Jim Banks absolutely he's had the field cleared for him. He's got the Trump endorsement. He's got Mike Braun's endorsement. He's got John Barrasso, Stephen Miller, Mike Pompeo. He's got the entire Republican Party unified behind him. But who's John Rust? John Rust. Former chair of Rust. There you go. But I think he'll have no problem in this race. Where else do we want? I think that's it. Actually, West Virginia, Joe Manchin is stepping down. He is retiring. Trump will win the state overwhelmingly. Now, Don Blankenship, who ran for the Senate in 2018 as Republican, is now running as a Democrat. How well will he do? It's up in the air. But Jim Justice will be the nominee for the Republicans and will win the election handily enough. Alex Mooney didn't have a chance whenever Justice announced that was kind of the primary was over. And I think that is it. Now, I want to put New Mexico, Martin Heinrich. You have the daughter of former Republican Senator Pete Domenici is running, but it's not going to get under 10 points. Martin Heinrich is actually a bit of an electoral overperformer. Oh, Roger Wicker in Mississippi will also be safe. Now we go on to likely Republican states or Democrat states, which are two: Bob Casey Jr. in Pennsylvania and Tim Kaine. Tim Kaine has a significant challenge from Hung Kao. Hung Kao did very well whenever he ran against in Virginia's 10th. However, we have Scott Parkinson, who is former Vice President of Club for Growth and former Chief of Staff to Ron DeSantis, is running. He's getting a bit of money. Yeah, he's getting a bit of money. There's a lot of money in this race on the Republican side, actually. But I think at the end of the day, Hung Kao will go through. However, this is actually looking like a bit of a tough primary for Hung Kao. Most of the, I would say the more right-wing Republicans are endorsing Scott Parkinson. That'll be an interesting primary to look at, but at the end of the day, I think it won it by 8 or 9 points, maybe even more than that. Bob Casey, there is Bob Casey versus Rich McCormick. Bob Casey will win this easily. Rich McCormick, good, probably very good for fundraising. Mitch McConnell will give him a lot of money. He's already got raised $5 million as of December. This is now February, so he's earned a lot more. But I have no problem putting that in the likely column. You have to realize Trump's at the top of the ticket. Will he do well in Pennsylvania? He will. Will it be enough for Rich McCormick to win? Probably not. And that's all the likely Democrat states. Now we have two likely Republican states, which are Texas and Florida. Texas, Ted Cruz versus John Allred or Roland Gutierrez. Ted Cruz, I think, will have no problem winning this race. He's already raised $44 million. Wow. Colin Allred or Roland Gutierrez. Well, he's absolutely smashing him in fundraising, and he is doing very well in polling. So it looks like this is going to be a Trump Cruz Allred primary or general. I think it will be a likely state, probably run in line with Trump. Then we have Rick Scott. Rick Scott, famous for winning his races by incredibly narrow margins, beating Bill Nelson by 0.1% of the vote or something ridiculous like that. Who's this? Keith Gross, former assistant state attorney. Anyway, and Debbie Powell. Okay, she seems to be the likely nominee, but I think he will win by a 5 to 6 point ish margin. We then will go into our lean Democrat states, of which I have two: Wisconsin and Michigan. Let's talk about Wisconsin first. Wisconsin is going to be the narrow, the closest of all these three Rust Belt states of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Baldwin will perform quite a bit. She's already doing incredibly well on fundraising. Republicans, do they even have a candidate? Doesn't even look like it. I know Mike Gallagher was tipped to be in there, but she's going to win quite by a lean Democratic margin, probably 3 or 4 points. Depends on the candidate. We don't know yet. Michigan is another interesting race. Mainly due to the fact we have an establishment Democrat being Slotkin versus a progressive Democrat in Hill Harper. Slotkin's, I think, is doing very well in polling and fundraising. We'll go down here and check. Yeah. $1 million for Harper, $11 million for Lisa Slotkin. She got quite a few endorsements as well. So I think this Slotkin versus we haven't even talked about the Republican side, which I think is James Craig versus Mike Rogers versus Peter Meyer. Peter Meyer trying to run as like, I don't know, a non-Trump candidate, James Craig being the more Trump candidate, and Mike Rogers kind of being the kind of middle ground between them. I think James Craig actually hasn't done that much in fundraising, but he's doing quite well in the polling as of recent. But it'll basically be James Craig, Mike Rogers primary. So that's all the lean Democratic states. Now we get on to the lean Republican states, of which I think there are two, that being the state of Ohio and the state of Montana. These states, we'll talk about Montana first. Montana is going to be won by Trump by anywhere from 15 to 20 points. Now, John Tester is relatively a popular senator. He's already raised $25 million. Matt Rosendale recently announced that he's running for Senate, but Tim Sheeny has a Trump endorsement among the majority of the party, as well as Steve Daines, who's the head of the NRSC, as well as the other senator from Montana. Again, and he's got the polling advantage as well as polling advantage and fundraising advantage. So it's going to have to be that, Tester's going to have to run probably 15 points ahead of Trump and ahead of Biden. I don't know any candidate that can do that in that sort of environment with Trump on the ballot. He will make this state close. He will overperform, I think, by 10 points. He's popular. He's been there since 2006. He's well likable. He's charismatic. But I just can't see where he will win whenever Trump's won the state by 15 to 20 points. Ohio is a more controversial one. Sherrod Brown, again, was elected in 2006. Trump's on the ballot. Trump will win the state, in my opinion, by 9 plus points, possibly even 10 points. He's going to have to outrun that. Will he outrun that? Yes, not by 10 points, by 5 points-ish. Again, 27 million. Now, the primaries between these guys, you have the more Trump Republican being Moreno, Matt Dolan being the more, Reagan-type Republican, and then you have Frank LaRose, who's kind of trying to, play the middle ground, similar to the Michigan Republican primary. But he is the party apparatus behind him. He's a Trump endorsement and is doing very well in fundraising, and so is Mike Dolan, and is doing well in the polling. So far, he's winning the polling. But we'll look at general election polling. It's going to be close. Whenever Trump's on the ballot, he's going to be winning the state. I think it will take a significant overperformance by Brown to win Ohio. The next state we have are these two states. These two, Arizona and Nevada. Arizona is a wee bit of a weird one because we don't know what Kristen Sinema is going to do. Is she running? She hasn't. She's filed paperwork, but she hasn't announced. She's raised 16 million, so there you go. Ruben Gallego will be the Democratic nominee. He's raised 13 million. Carrie Lake will be the Republican nominee. She's raised 2 million. Okay, so not that much. Mark Lamb is another Republican candidate. I have this. This all comes down to Kristen Sinema at the end of the day. If she doesn't run, I think Ruben Gallego wins. If she does run, she takes more from Gallego, in my opinion. At the moment, I'm going to say that she doesn't run. And I have this as tilt Democratic. The state of Nevada. Democrats have been pumping a lot of money into Nevada for Jackie Rosen against, I think, the Republican candidate is Scott Brown or Sam Brown. 19 million, and there was, I think, 50 million given ads recently. This is after December. Sam Brown, Jim Marchant, but I think he's comfortably winning the polling. Yeah, as well as fundraising, doing very well. I have this tilt Democratic. I think it'll be similar to the presidential race. It'll be very narrow, but Democrats still will win it. And that puts us at 52 Republican states, 52 Republican senators to 48 Democratic senators. Democrats just have a lot of areas to defend, and with the addition of Maryland, that's just a lot of areas that they have to go on defense, with only two possible states that they can pick off, being Florida and Texas. So it's a hard map geographically for them to win. But anyway, that's my prediction. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe. I have way more videos like this planned, and in the future, if you have any suggestions, you can email me or leave a comment. But thank you very much. This has been History with Matt. Thank you very much for watching.